Hi, I'm Karen Biefeld, and I am doing a few videos that show you how to use simple tools like punches, ink, scissors, and cardstock to make some really cool embellishments very inexpensively. Today's embellishment I'm going to show is going to be how to make some pumpkins out of a round punch and an oval punch. I also used, let me show you first. Stampin' Up! Has a ton of different round shaped punches of all different sizes. They start as little as a ½ an inch and they go all the way up to either 2 inches or 2 3/4. They're really great tools to have, especially if you really don't have any tools at all. I know that a lot of you watching do pocket letters, and the one thing too about making your own embellishments is it's very inexpensive, especially when you use your scraps. And today I'm using Tangelo Twist, Mossy Meadow, and Early Espresso. So the first thing I'm going to do is just do a punch or two, since it's a pretty easy thing. Our punches are designed to use them upside down so that you can see where you're punching, and that'll give you maximum use out of your paper. Excuse me. For each pumpkin, you'll need 3 pieces. And it doesn't matter what size punch you use. I'm going to do 2 of each pumpkin. I'm going to do one with a little bit more dimension, and I'm going to do one that is a little bit flatter. So I'm going to take our Tip Top Taupe ink. If I didn't say it right because of my accent, it's Tip Top Taupe. And some people call this distressing. In my opinion, it's called muddying because I like everything really clean and crisp and clear, but it does have a purpose. And what you want to do is just get a little tiny bit of your ink on your dauber, work out a lot of the color on your, like on a scrap piece of paper, and you're just going to kind of go around the edge. You can always put more on, but you can't take it off. And that's just kind of going to make that piece stand out away from the pieces that are underneath it. There's a lot of different things that you can do to change the look of your embellishments, but I want to keep it simple for beginners who maybe don't have a lot of things to work with. That way you can get started and add to your collection as your budget permits. So as I'm going around, you can see how this is already adding some dimension along the edge. Now I'm going to bring this up slowly because my camera has an autofocus, but you can see the difference of the pieces that I distressed and the pieces that I didn't. It has this like defined edge there. I'm going to do that on 3 of the round ones. This one has this little chunk out of it, but it's going to be hidden. So if you end up with a piece like that, you don't need to really worry all that much about it because you can easily hide it. If you know it's something you can cover up, just use it. Don't cut another piece. Don't waste. I'm all about saving money, stretching my dollar. And anytime I can, I'll try to show you ways that you can do that too. So while I'm doing the edges, I'm going to talk a little bit about pocket letters. For those of you who are really new, you can cut paper down to 2.5 by 3.5 inches because that's a standard size of a pocket letter. And those will fit nicely. You can use patterned paper. You can use plain paper that you stamp on. Maybe one of the videos during the week I will do how to make your own pattern paper using stamps. And that's another inexpensive technique. And now I'm done with my ink. Always close your ink up when you're not using it. It'll help it to stay moist and the pad will not dry out. Okay, so I have my Snail tape runner. We also carry these and we have refills for them. I just want to talk a minute about the adhesive because you don't want to use something like Elmer's School Glue or Elmer's Craft Glue. You either want to use a tape runner or you can also use the Tombow Mono Liquid Craft Glue. This has a tip on each side. There's a broad tip and there's a pinpoint tip. So you get pretty good control with this. The reason why I don't recommend other glues, the other glues have a lot more water in them and they'll cause your paper to bump or they won't dry nicely and you just won't be happy with them. So my goal is to teach you how to make embellishments that are even better than the ones that you can buy at the craft store and save money. And you'll be able to fill up your pocket letters or you'll be able to work on your greeting cards, your project life without spending a lot of money. So I am going to show you first. This is going to be my bottom circle. And I'm going to have another one for a bottom circle. I only want to put tape or glue where I'm going to attach that over. And you can see already we've got a pumpkin starting to form. And then this one's just going to go on top. You can play around with it and have it go however you would like. I think I'm going to have mine just go down a little bit. So it looks like it's kind of like, you know how the front little curves end up kind of down in front. And I'm also going to do that with the plain one. So I've got my bottom one. I only need a little bit of tape right here or glue. And I might try to go just a little bit smaller on that one so you can just see how you can vary them so they don't all look the same. I do want to leave my top one with a little bit of space for sliding in our little leaves and stems that I'm going to show you how to make. And sometimes I actually have to stop and think about what I'm doing just like everybody else. All right, so we've got our two little bumps for the bottom of our pumpkin. You can add more circles if you want and make them even more. So like you could do 2 more ovals, it'll make it wider. You can use a bigger punch, you can use a smaller punch, but I do recommend that you always use all the same size. So the next thing I'd like to show you is how to make your own leaf. You can make them of all different shapes and sizes. I'm just going to cut those by hand with a pair of scissors. I use the Stampin' Up! Paper snips. They're super sharp. They have a super sharp point on them so that I can get into tight places and make really nice, clean cuts. So here you can see where I did one earlier, and you can freeform your leaves. They don't have to be perfect, but you do want one end to kind of have a little point to it. And you could put as many or as few leaves on each pumpkin that you want. And you can see how nicely that's all starting to come together. I know that pumpkins have kind of a different shaped leaf than the one I just cut, but it's all of your own creativity and interpretation. And because you're hand cutting your leaves yourself, there's not going to be two of these that are exactly alike. So I'll try that with that one. I've got this on this one, and I'm just doing different things to show you different ways, different sizes. And again, it's all your own personal preference because it is your project, it is your pocket letter or greeting card that you're sharing with somebody, and they're just going to be thrilled that you took time to make your own embellishments and share with them part of yourself. I'm going to do 2 on that one. I'm going to do 1, and I'm going to do another kind of free form 1 for my, oops, I'm not even doing this in the camera, I'm sorry. So we've got a couple of different ways. Next, we're going to do our stem. Now, some people might want a fat stem. Some people might want a thin stem. I am just cutting some rectangles from another scrap of my early espresso cardstock. And some people like it to look like they cut it off at the pumpkin patch. Some people might want it a little rounded. So you can see there's just all, it's whatever you like. Some people might want it flat. And now you can decide if you want it to go narrow or just be all in length by just trimming it down and giving a little curve on that. You can do it on both sides. You can do it on one side. But you just kind of play with it until you have a stem that you are happy with. How cute is that? So on my next one, I might just make it kind of more square and a little bit more chunky. My leaves are a little bit different. This one I did just more of a blunt kind of curved top. And you could put as many leaves as you'd like, or as few. Some of them I'm going to put my stem in front of the leaves. Some of them I'm going to put it behind. And the next little trick I'm going to show you is take a piece of your green, and if you cut this, this is why I love paper snips. If you cut this super, super thin, you can see how it starts to curve on its own. But you can curl that up, just like curling ribbon, around a pencil, a pen, a stylus. I'm just going to use my finger. Ooh, I do want it a little bit tighter, so I'll take my pen and just kind of curve it around. I leave my thick end at the back when I'm curling it because I am going to cut these shorter. But I just want to get a really nice little curl going on that. How cute. How simple. And this one will probably go on that pumpkin. Now when you put it on your card or your pocket, it is going to get flattened, but it's just a really natural looking vine. So I'm going to go ahead and put these together. Tiny bit of tape. Check. pumpkin stem. That one's going right on the leaf. I'm going to tuck that down in between my layers because I left that a little bit open. And then too, if you don't really like the way it turns out, you can always change it. You can make it shorter, you can make it longer. I would like to attach my leaf with my vine with my Tombow. This one happens to be brand new because I just wanted to show it new in package. One little drop. And Tombow dries clear. Put your little thing on there. If you want, you could cut a second leaf and just put that over it. So you see how you start to build your dimension very simply, very easily. How cute is that? I'm not happy with it, so I'm just going to snip that right there. I'm going to hold that up for you to see. I'm going to try to do one with a more loopy stem. So I'm going to cut that off, and I'm going to try to find something littler, maybe like a toothpick or a lollipop stick would make that smaller. Let's see if I have something laying around here to work with. Ooh, the end of my piercing tool. So I'm going to just wrap that around again. Kind of push on it. You can see that's a little tighter. Cut off a little snip on that. I'm going to put it on this one. This time I'm going to do all Tombow just to show you. One little dot is all you need. Don't squeeze because it's going to come out pretty much by itself when it's brand new. So you just kind of just touch it and ever so slightly just kind of press on it to make that little bitty drop come out. And oops, I'll show you. This dries pretty quick. It is permanent, but I'm messing with it too much. Okay, there you go. And my stem. You don't have to use the little curly Q, but I like to. I'm going to put that right there at the top. I'm going to hold it for a second while it dries. All right, so there you have it. You have two different pumpkins. You have a tall one, you have a short one. You can see how much more dimension you get with the shading along the edge. But this one's just as cute. You could put them on cards, one in front of each other. You can make a smaller one. You have a trio. But all I used was scraps. So it practically cost me nothing to make. And once you have a few of the basic tools, you will be able to create all kinds of embellishments. And I'll be here for a very long time to show you how to do that. I hope you liked the video today. If you did, make a comment below. If you have any questions, you can comment below. And thank you for joining me.